Pulled what in? Wait, what did happen? Yeah, sassy is cool. How did I pull that in? Have you not met me? Honestly, she asks herself every day how she pulled this in. Just gotta say, man. I mean, I think it's one part being awesome and one part laying the pipe right. You know, creating jobs. Lay the pipe.
One pot too much alcohol.
Well, as with any good relationship, whether it be gay or straight or transgender or something else, one part of any good relationship is alcohol. Anyone who tells you otherwise is divorced. Too much of that, however. It's one part alcohol, not all alcohol. If it's all alcohol, also divorced. And as for my family pike, since you're curious, and I've reached the don't give a fuck point about him anymore, so I'll talk about him. We'll start with my older brother. For instance, to let you guys in on how not awesome my family actually is, does anybody even know how many brothers and sisters DeathWhitch has? Or can remember the last time I talked about them? And then did you ask yourself, why is that? It's probably a good reason. Because they're horrible. They are horrible, horrible people. We'll start with the older brother because he lives in Seattle, and I have absolutely zero interest in ever speaking to him again. So don't care if he sees this, and if you do, you're dead to me, and I don't care what you think or if you ever try to contact me because we're done. But yeah, we'll start with the gay one since that's the one you guys know about. My problem with him is not that he's gay. Give a fuck about that. Where you put your penis or who you spend the rest of your life with is your personal business. Doesn't bother me. Why the fuck should it? Doesn't affect me. It's your life. Live it how the fuck you want to live it. That's my philosophy. I don't care about that. What I do care about, all right, he invited me when he came out of the closet and decided he was going to, marry a man, and, he made a big deal out of it. Most of the family didn't care, but to him it was a big deal. I get that. It's your big coming out moment. It's a big deal. So what did I do? Spent all my vacation days at work and the money I'd set aside for a vacation with my family to fly out to Seattle and support him. Like a good brother should do. Right? I mean, it took him 35 years to admit to the world what he was and to come out of the closet. I don't know why coming out of the closet's a big deal for gay men. I mean, I guess I get it because, that's their way of accepting who they are and making sure the world does. But my thing has always been, why the fuck do you care what they think? Just do you. And if anybody else doesn't like it, fucking hell with them. But if I were gay, I wouldn't have a coming out moment. I'd just fucking be gay. If you figured it out on your own, great. If you didn't, it's none of your business. But whatever, that's a different topic. So I fly all the way out there to support him. He was an asshole to me the entire time, and I gave him a pass on being an asshole. I was like, okay, you know what? It's your wedding. You've been planning for this. You're kind of in bridezilla mode or groomzilla, whatever. So I'm kind of letting a lot of the shit he says go. It's a little underhanded remarks he's saying. He's being judgmental. He's trying to police turning into the thought police and trying to, make sure I think the right thing and I say the right thing, because he doesn't want his gay friends to have some kind of opinion of me at his wedding because they met his family. And I was like, why the fuck do you even invite us if that's the way you're going to act? But secondly, if meeting your siblings changes someone's opinion about you, they never liked you to begin with. Like, I don't understand anyone, gay, straight, transgender, whatever. I don't understand anyone, male, female, no matter what race you are, no matter who you are. Like, why ever care about what other people think? You got one life to live. Why spend so much of it worried about what others think of your life? Live it to the fullest the way you want to live it. as long as you're not hurting anybody else in the process, fuck everyone else. And that's just always been the way I viewed life. But my brothers and sisters don't. All of them, gay, straight, all of them, have had that same attitude where they care what people think. They do things with the back, and in the back of their mind, they do things knowing that this might make people see me a certain way, or this might make, they would change their actions to make sure that people, liked what they did. Doing things they don't even like to make sure that they didn't ruin their reputation. I don't give a fuck about my reputation. To an extent, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna ruin it to the point where it affects my life and I can't get a job or something, but, as far as just social reputation, those who like me will be there for me, and those who can't handle who I really am aren't worthy of being in my life to begin with. And that's the way I see it, and that's the way you should see it. But he was an asshole the whole time. I could go through examples of all the shit he did, but it was more or less just nitpicky bullshit. Where he was just thought policing me and just acting like a total asshole. Like he didn't, and I got the feeling like he didn't like who I was as a person, and that him inviting me to his wedding was just a courtesy invite, and I was never really meant to show up. He wasn't happy that his brother, like that's what pissed me off. He wasn't happy that I was there supporting him. He never once said thank you. He acted like me being there was an inconvenience, to the point where he tried to keep me separated from most of his party of the wedding. And I let all that go. And I tried, before I left, to go have, a heart-to-heart moment with him, because we haven't really spoke since he moved to Seattle. And that was 10 years, 10, 12 years ago. So I don't really know who he is anymore. People change a lot in the course of a decade. So I thought I'd take the opportunity while I'm there. Congratulate him on his wedding. Try to get to know him a little bit. Again. Try to get to know my brother again. And have a little heart to heart with him. And I go up to his apartment. On my way out the door to go to the airport, I make Sassy and Myth was there. Because he lived close, so I called him to come there. So I made Sassy and Myth kind of hang out in the parking lot as we're leaving. I kind of just got that spur of the moment feeling like, if I don't go talk to him now, I may never get this chance again. So I stopped them there in the parking lot, and I was like, can you guys wait here for a minute? I gotta do something. And I ran up there to talk to him. And I called him in his apartment. He answered me, he let me in and tried to talk to him, and he acted like everything was cool. Trying to have a heart to heart and ask him what his problem was, or what's been going on with your life. How have you changed? Like what's changed? We used to be close, and now I'm getting the feeling we're not close anymore. What did I do something? Did something happen to you? Is maybe you've gotten the wrong impression? Because I'm not the same guy that you remember as a teenager when you moved away. I was kind of a dick in high school. I was a kid who got bullied a lot, and I'd come home, and I wasn't a dick to random people, but sometimes I was a dick to my family in high school. I was a small kid. I was around 97 pounds in high school. I got bullied a lot. I'd go home angry, understandably angry, and I'd sometimes take it out on my family. So I was like, you know what? I'm not the same guy. You remember when we were kids? I might have taken some stuff out on you I shouldn't. And I had that moment where I manned up to the shit that I did wrong. Shit that I said when we were younger, and I was like, that was just, this is teenagers being teenagers. Yeah, it's small petty shit. So I was like, that's just teenagers being teenagers. And he acted like we were all cool, and he was like, no, it's fine. Before I got off the plane, and this is what pisses me off the most about him, where I've lost all respect for him, because I went through all that, and acted like we were cool. I gave him that option to just, I laid my cards on the table. I gave him that option to do the same. I gave him that option to have that heart to heart with me, to tell me what's wrong and how to fix it. Or if there is no way to fix it, to at least say goodbye. To put your cards on the table, to be a man and just put it out there. And I figured if he was ever going to do that, now would be the time. Because you just put your life cards on the table, man. You just told the world you're going to marry a man, you know. And we come from a family where that could get you disowned. Like, I get it. You just went through probably the scariest thing in your life. So, telling me you think I'm a dick, or telling me I've never really liked you, or whatever you feel about me, should seem easy in comparison. And I kind of figured that we'd be closer now than ever if I was going to be closer with any of my siblings, because I thought he'd be the only one that understood. Because it took me 2 years to bring Sassy home. Like, that I'm just giving you a hint of the kind of family I got. It took me 2 years to bring her home because I didn't know what they were going to think. I can only imagine what it was like for him being gay, because in their mind, that's the only thing that's worse than what I did. So I kind of figured we'd be on the same team on this one. But by the time I got off the plane, flying back to North Carolina from his wedding, he had blocked me on Facebook and Twitter and every social media he had, like a petty teenager. And I haven't talked to him since. I did try one more time. And removing me on everything and blocking me and trying to pretend like I don't exist after the wedding was childish in itself. But what he did next, the next time I saw him, was unforgivable in my eyes. And it went above and beyond. And at that point, he was dead to me. I let the other stuff go as just him having a rough time. And thought maybe time will heal, you know, and he'll get over it, because I understand it's a rough time in his life to come out and do that. He had a lot of emotions, a lot of shit going on in here. A year later, oh no, it gets worse, Taylor. I never told you guys this part, because this was just, I didn't even want to talk about it. It was above and beyond, but Myth knows it, so he might have told you. But a year later, we moved in with Myth. You know, I had an interview with you know, he was trying to hook me up with a job, and I took the, you know, one of the biggest risks of my life. I quit my job, and I moved across the country in with a friend for an interview at a place I wanted to work, not even knowing if I'd get the job. But, you know, Myth hooked me up. I figured this was my chance, my one opportunity. My wife was on board. Let's do this. We had a place to stay. We had a little bit of insurance if things went wrong. And they did go terribly wrong while we were there. And it's no one's fault. You all know Sassy ended up in the hospital. She had a stroke, having the second kid. Almost died. In a coma for a few months. And while she was in that coma, her mother flew out there. You know, Myth was spending as much time with me as he could and trying to support me. He was huge help. But her mother came out there and wouldn't even stay with Myth. Like, she would not leave that hospital other than to go eat. Like, she slept in that hospital. She would not leave Sassy's side. And I don't blame her. If I didn't have Claire to take care of, I probably would have stayed in the hospital too. But, you know, Myth was a huge help there. But anyway, so Sassy's in the hospital on what I believe at the time might be her deathbed. Her mother believes it too. We don't know if she's ever going to wake up. Things were looking pretty grim at the time. We leave the hospital while they go do some tests on her. And that's when we would leave and go get food, when they would kick us out, basically. So we left. I was with Sassy's mom and my daughter. And we went to go get something to eat. And we went downtown Seattle to the only Target in Seattle. It's, you know, it's a very small one. It's more of a high-rise, one floor per department in a skyscraper kind of deal in downtown Seattle. But we went there. While I'm there, I'm holding my daughter. I got Sassy's mom standing right here. And we're getting ready to leave. When up the escalator comes my older brother, who I have not seen or spoken to since he blocked me a year ago. Since my attempt at a heart-to-heart. I saw him. He got a foot away from me. He was right fucking here. Eye contact was made. I said his name. I said, Daniel. And I pointed at him. And I said it kind of to my daughter, telling her who he was, because he hasn't met her yet. He has not met my child yet. So I'm trying to introduce her to Uncle Daniel. There's a kid involved. My in-law's right here. He sees us, makes eye contact from a foot away. He got off the escalator going up, turned right around and got on the one going down. Never spoke a word. That is the blackest I've ever seen my in-law be. I've never heard that woman cuss. I've never heard her say anything remotely ghetto. But she looked at me and looked toward him and said, "Oh, hell no." And just walked. She took off. She walked down the escalator and went after him. And I went down after her, holding my child. I'm having trouble keeping up. I'm trying to carry a child. There's a crowd of people. We cut through the crowd. I see her. She's 20 feet away at this point. My older brother had stuff he was ready to buy. He dropped the shit he was going to buy and walked out. Like, he didn't even buy what he went there for. He was that anxious to get away, to not have to confront me for whatever it is his problem was. To this day, I don't know what his problem with me is. And I gave him the chance to talk about it, and he didn't. Just his cowardice is what pisses me off. And that woman chased him. And she has health problems on the level of Sassy. She has to walk with a cane, and this woman is moving the fastest I've ever seen her move to get out there. And I chased them outside. He was gone. He jumped the nearest bus and left. As far as I'm concerned, he's dead to me. Died to me right there. The one time I may need him the most, the only family I have within 3,000 miles other than the one that's laying in the hospital possibly dying, just abandoned me. And he knew what was going on because he talks to my parents. He knew she was in that hospital 2 blocks away. And instead of manning up and being the brother he should have and being there for me when I needed him, like I was there for him, he ran. So he's dead to me. But that's one example. And that's not even the most extreme. The others are equally horrible when it comes to my siblings. They've all done things like that. And I've never done that to them. Any of them ever. I've never turned them away no matter how bad they've treated me. And they continue to. And I've reached the point now where my kids are more important than you. I have something to care about other than you guys now. So I'm done with them. So when you think your family's bad, they didn't do that. And if they did, you're welcome here, because I understand. So if your family treats you like shit, or you think they do, or you think your family's shit, ask yourself, the last time I needed them, were they there? And if the answer is yes, they're not so bad. And there's fences that can be mended. You can fix any problems if the answer to that question is yes. If the answer to that question is no, then treat your friends like family, like I do. The few you get. Because they say you can't pick your friends, or they say you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. My family didn't get that memo, because they didn't pick me. So, and they apparently thought they could. So I wasn't trying to sober you up, Taylor. I just thought I'd tell you guys why DeathWhitch never talks about his family, because it's fucking depressing. So since Sassy got out of the hospital and things have gotten somewhat better since then, the only ones willing to help me were my parents. They didn't turn their back on me, despite the fact that they, admitted they don't exactly agree with, at least my dad admitted, I don't exactly agree with your relationship. I don't agree with your older brothers, but my dad's on the same boat as I am. He's where I learned my values from. He may be an asshole sometimes. I may be an asshole sometimes, but he taught me you never turn your back on family no matter what. And He doesn't do that. I'm kind of sad that my brothers and sisters didn't learn that lesson. I'm not sure who dropped the ball there, or if they just didn't get it, but whatever. So I got a mom and a dad and my friends. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's my family. And then Sassy and my kids, of course. So. And my mom and my dad have their moments. You know, they're there for me, but getting along with them's not the easiest thing in the world. I told you, Dad's kind of an asshole. We don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. We argue a lot. It's not the most comfortable living situation having them help me out while Sassy's recovering, but he's willing to tough through it knowing that he's not going to get along with me. And I guess so am I. And do what I got to do. So. Anyway, how's everyone else doing? Let's hear about your lives. Mine sucks.
And that concludes story time with Death.
Yeah, tonight's story time was kind of a bummer. But I'll admit, it felt kind of great to get that out there because I hadn't really talked to anybody about it.